What's going on, guys? Just a quick video. I'll try and make it quick. I'm on the hop. I've been very busy, so I was going to do it on my computer, but yeah, it just didn't work out that way. I promised a video today about some updates of the court case. If you've been following my court case, it's very interesting, and it's going to get even more interesting when I reveal something in this video. First off, the so-called gay church that I was charged with allegedly disturbing, which the magistrate sentenced me to 10 months imprisonment, has closed down. It's finished. And it's like I assumed, it was a pump and dump scheme. And when I say pump and dump, it was a fraudulent organisation. It was an incorporation, it wasn't a church, that appointed a so-called licensed minister, which a magistrate described her as. She's only registered as a civil celebrant. She can't even perform marriages as a religious minister. The marriages legally should have been performed as a civil celebration, but instead she performed them as a religious ceremony, fraudulently. There's two separate criteria which could be unlawful. All those weddings, all those gay weddings that she done could be unlawful, but that's a whole other issue. The church is called the Metropolitan Community Church Melbourne Incorporated. It is as religious as a cricket team. They are not recognised as a religious denomination in Australia by the Attorney General, which is you have to do. But in the magistrate's court, it's all pretend world. Let's all pretend that they're a religion, you know, because they love gays, etc. Yeah, so this church has closed down, and they've closed down because all this shit was brought up. They had a big meeting after the court case, and from what I've heard, it's because some fraud issues, I think, I believe, and etc. Okay, so that's finished. That church is gone. And some people have said, you know, you're called the Senator Slayer. You know, your new name should be the Gay Fake Church Slayer. I don't know if it's as good, but I'll take it. The Gay Fake Church Slayer.
Politics.
Don't do that. You're on camera. No, sit down. Have a seat.
Could you please leave?
Woofers.
Could you please leave? Could you please leave?
I'm just
Now.
saying that these Christians touching. Don't touch me. Don't touch me.
You just touched me.
Hey, don't touch me. Don't touch me.
You just touched me.
Don't
Go,
touch me.
buddy, go! Go!
Now, this video, that's a side issue, yeah? It's kind of a bit of a laugh. But, mate, I've been looking in this case for a while, and I've told you I've had a couple of nuggets, and I think the court's going to be in a bit of a mischief. So there's a concept, I don't want to get too much into it, I don't have my computer here, but I'll kind of briefly describe what I'm talking about. There's a concept called established church, and it's a church that is part of the state. So the state controls the church, and that church is, you know, gets special privileges because it's a state church. The government gives it money, the government gives it protection, and the government gives it political support, and also the government and the church share the same political ideology. See where I'm going with this? This is going to be big, all right? So we all know LGBTI and gay rights is through every single government institution in Australia. The Corrections Victoria, maybe none of you have seen it, but I've seen it through the whole court process. The Corrections Victoria prisons, they're an LGBTI ally. We know what ally means. It means you're fighting for their team. Biasness automatically. Legal Aid Victoria, LGBTI ally. The courts, LGBTI ally. Victorian Police, and not only just LGBTI ally, they have a special police force called the LGBTI liaison officer or glow officer, the ones who charge me for disturbing this church. The police commissioner is thrown his support into the gay marriage.
Does the police force have a view on marriage equality on the postal vote going on? Everybody else has.
Yeah, well, I guess we haven't got posters up out the front of the building or changing logos or anything, but, you know,
There's a few rainbow flags around police stations.
Yeah, we fly the rainbow flag a number of times during the year at different occasions. But we got a lot of officers who identify as LGBTI officers, and Yeah, we're largely supportive of them having the same rights as everyone else, and we've been something we think probably should have happened a while ago. We're still debating.
Every institution is an LGBTI ally. Now, we've got that. Government institution. This church, its so-called religion, focused around LGBTI politics or LGBTI religion. Their services were for LGBTI community. That was their main objective. It's in every single document they've written. So they share that with the government.
There were sad and happy occasions, and we shared with the community of faith and the wider gay community. MCC in Melbourne always had a presence at Pride, midsummer events, World AIDS Day ceremonies, and endeavoured to honour all the gay community by remembrance services for those in our rainbow community, including Leather Pride and our trans brothers and sisters. Many had not attended a service, but people there knew there was a gay church in the city, and the church was held in high regard.
Secondly, an established church, and I'll get to what an established church is and how it's bad. But look, you can't. When the Constitution was created in Australia, Section 116 was enacted. Section 116 states that you can't have a state church. You can't have a government establishing a church. And how does a government establish a church? Well, one, they've got to share the same kind of political or belief system. Secondly, they've got to give them financial assistance such as money. Now, I've been going through a lot of cases, and I'm telling you, my case may seem very strong because they had high court cases about the government giving money to religious education, or like private schools, religion schools, that don't particularly teach religion, but they teach, education. There was a big kerfuffle about it in court, big arguments. They eventually allowed it as long as it's just mainly going to the education sector of the private school and not directly going to a religious act. There was some controversy in an ABC article which I found where Scott Morrison bought a bunch of CCTV security cameras for a bunch of churches for protection. The ABC claimed that that's an argument to take to court, that it's in breach of Section 116 of the Constitution, buying cameras. And there was also the famous case, a Scientology case, which was brought up in my case, which was used to prove that they were religion, etc. But I've got some arguments about that, about tax exemptions. And can the government give tax exemptions to a religious organisation because it conflicts with, not establishing a church, etc.? Well, I'll tell you guys something, and I've known this for a while. Daniel Andrews has given thousands of dollars. He's given a grant to this so-called fake church every year, from what I can find. And it wasn't just for, gardening. It specifically says it's for service and worship and shit like that. Okay? So there we go. We've got two now. They share the same political or ideology, the LGBTI gay mafia, and they are receiving money specifically for religious acts by the government, which is illegal. We'll get to that in a sec. Thirdly, do they receive protection? Well, they do, under disturbing religious worship, which was created to protect established churches 300 years ago. So that is their protection. Because Daniel Andrews appoints the Chief Commissioner, Graham Ashton, who was a vehement supporter of LGBTI rights, etc., an ally.
Yeah, we're largely supportive of them having the same rights as everyone else, and we've been something we think probably should have happened a while ago. We're still debating.
And then that police automatically appoint an LGBTI GLOW officer, a section of the police that protect only gays. And because this is a religious gay church, you're going to get serious protection. This is fucked up, and this is highly, highly controversial. I don't believe you guys out there realise how big the ramifications can be of this. We'll see how we go. It might get, you know how these courts are. We'll see. But if a judge comes into that courtroom at my appeal, because I'm currently on bail, at my appeal, and is a good judge, he, because I won't be rude, he will see it for what it is. Okay? You can't have an established church. You can't have a religious church that is in line with the state, or controlled by the state, or protected by the state, or given financial money by the state. There's some serious shit going on with this case. Keep an eye out. It's going to be explosive. Love yous all. Catches.